was about 25, I really didn't have any type of wellness routine. I ended up constantly living in a state of stress and anxiety. I struggled a lot with my weight. But then one thing that I started to do was start having like some type of routine throughout my day. And over the years, I've realized how much certain types of tools have really helped me transform my wellness in a way that I genuinely enjoy, and has also helped me just be more in a calmer state and maintain my weight easily. So if you are looking to create wellness habits that will make a drastic difference in your life, in today's video, I'm sharing 10 tools that took my wellness to the next level. So one tool that I've had for, I think, over 6 years at this point is the Calm app. If you've never heard of the Calm app is a morning meditation app. And what I do like about it is that it is 10 minutes long each morning. It does have like other types of meditation in there that I've used quite a lot when I first had the app. If you're like into story times, your anxiety is really high, or you're irritated or angry, I've definitely used a lot of those in the past and have found that it's really helpful. And they also have like meditations based on the level of time you want to have it for. So I ended up getting a walking pad because I was not getting outside enough, and I started to realize that I was gaining weight because I wasn't doing a lot of movement. So one thing that I ended up getting in, I think like the end of last year, was a walking pad. And honestly, it's been the greatest thing that I have ever bought because I use this daily and I don't have to leave my house. Like there's been times when I've reached 10,000 steps without even leaving my damn house. I really like going on this for like 10 minutes throughout the day or 20 minutes and just using it like in little increments and watching something on TV while I'm on my walking pad, especially like after I eat. I really try to get on the walking pad just so that way I'm moving my body after I finish having a meal if I don't feel like going outside. And so like another reason why I really love my walking pad is because sometimes it just gets really hot in Florida and I will not leave my house until the sun goes down. So it's a great way of me still getting in my steps without having to put myself in uncomfortable situations. So if you're someone who tends to have like a desk job or live somewhere where it's really hot, or maybe live somewhere where it's really cold and you just don't get out as much as you should, one thing that is really good to have is a walking pad, just so that way you're still able to get in your steps. And I like it because I don't have to do like a 40-minute like walk if I don't want to. I could like stroll on it and like walk like 2.5 or whatever rate that I want to walk on. And I could just like walk for 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here, because those little steps do add up. And it's just a really great way of like moving my body without feeling like I need to do like this long 50-minute walk every day in order to reach my walking steps goal. Another tool that has been really beneficial, this one I've had for about 4 years, I think, and it is the Oura Ring. Me and Kevin actually got this as Christmas gifts to each other, and he ended up losing his, which I was very annoyed by because that shit is not cheap. But I really enjoy the Oura Ring because I didn't realize like how much your sleep impacts your overall well-being. I ended up just like thinking about like food and fitness and just things like that. I didn't really understand the importance of sleep until I started looking more into it. And then also because I was also having a lot of trouble with my sleep, but I think I was mainly having trouble with my sleep because I kept drinking too much alcohol. So one thing that I really liked about getting the Oura Ring was it would tell me not even just the amount of hours that I was sleeping, but it will also tell me my REM and deep sleep. And REM and deep sleep is really important because REM and deep sleep helps with body recovery. One I believe is for the mind and one I believe is for the body. I'll put it here because I really don't remember which one is for which, but I really do like that the Oura app really helps me track my sleep because then it gives me more insight into things that I don't know about. It also lets me know that when my sleep isn't that good, it's most likely because of something I probably ate too heavy of before I went to bed. So one thing that I've been doing recently for like, honestly, the past couple of, I want to say 2 months that I've been doing is eating much earlier before I go to bed. So usually I would eat about 2 to 3 hours before bed, but I ended up watching a video, a YouTube video of like this Asian guy who doesn't look his age and what he ends up doing to look younger. And what they mentioned was that he eats about like 4 to 5 hours. It's between 4 to 6 hours that he eats before going to bed. To me, when I heard that, I was like, ain't no way I'm eating like 6 hours before bed. I'm going to be hungry. But then I tried it accidentally, and I had some of the greatest sleep of my life. So from that point on, I have been on a mission of eating at least 5 hours before bed, because one thing that I've realized is when I eat much earlier before I go to bed, my sleep is just so much better. One thing that I do notice is that if I only get like 6.5 hours of sleep, but I get almost like 2 hours of deep sleep and 2 hours of REM sleep, I wake up much better than if I was to get 8 hours of sleep, but only like 40 minutes of REM and like an hour of deep sleep. Depending on my deep sleep and my REM sleep, I actually get better sleep when I sleep less hours, as opposed to if I sleep longer hours, but then have trash deep and REM sleep. I also find that really fascinating to know, because just because you're sleeping longer doesn't mean you're actually getting adequate amount of sleep. And even when I was drinking alcohol, I realized that my sleep would be so much worse than when I stopped drinking. And what I do like is now that I'm not drinking, I see the difference in my sleep. I see the quality in my sleep. And I also feel like it has also impacted my ability to maintain the weight that I want, because my sleep is not being affected. So my recovery is not being affected. So therefore I have more energy to do the things that I want to do. It's just like we discount how much of one thing can compound into other aspects of our lives. And if we start taking care of one aspect, it could tremendously change everything else. And it's also another way of like tracking my steps, because I don't carry around my phone with me all the time. So it's like a really good thing of just like having on and then being able to track my steps rather than carrying my phone with me. I was never into the Apple Watch. I barely wear the watches that I have now. So to have something to where all I have to do is put it on my finger and it'll do everything else is just so much better. So my next one is something that I've heard. I'm not on TikTok. I don't really enjoy TikTok. I feel like it's just overly stimulating for me, but I'm pretty sure if you are on TikTok, you probably ran across at least one person that mentions this, and it is mouth tape. I personally like using this one. I don't use the one where it covers up your whole mouth. To me, I'm like, if I have to burp, where is that air going? Or if I have to cough, how the hell am I coughing? What I like about this one is that I could put it like right in the middle, and then if I have to cough, I just like cough from the side of my mouth, or if I have to burp, I just burp from the side of my mouth. And I don't know, I feel like claustrophobic with something covering my entire lips. I ended up getting it just because, number one, I realized that over time I kept sleeping with my mouth open. Like I would wake up and my mouth would be open and then my mouth would be dry. And there will be other times when I will wake up coughing and I'm like coughing on my own saliva in the middle of my sleep. And then it disrupts my sleep. And then I have to like try to force myself to go back to sleep. And not all the time is that an easy process for me to do. Another reason why I got the mouth tape was I was watching a podcast from Dr. Andrew Huberman, and he was talking about like how you breathe at night affects like your face structure. And I had realized that my jawline was not the greatest because I was breathing through my mouth, and therefore it was like changing the structure of like my face. Like I also had like a gap. I got the Invisalign, so that also helped change like the side structure. But after I started using the mouth tape, the side structure of my face became like more structured compared to before when I wasn't using it. So I know some people are like, oh, the mouth tape doesn't do anything. For me, I personally have seen a difference in using it in my sleep and in my face, and therefore I will continue to use it. When I first started working remote, I was on my bed because I didn't have like a space for a desk when I was living with my parents. But one thing that is really beneficial of if you're working remote is to get a standing desk. Now, I've recently started actually using the standing desk part because I mainly used it if I was on my walking pad. But for some reason, being on my walking pad and like working at the standing desk, I don't get how other people do it. But for me personally, I cannot function using the walking pad and working. Both aren't able to function at the same time. But it gets me out of that zone zone of like sitting down too often and just be on my feet a little bit more. So the standing desk, what I like about it is what I will usually do is I will just have it go up. It goes pretty high. I'm 4'11", so to me it would be high, you know? And then it could go back down. And you could also control where you want it to stay. So you'll just like press 1 if you want that to be like the main one. And then if you press 1, it'll go to whatever level you put it on. And then you have 4 settings that you could do it on. And then you could also reset it, like just pressing 1 again, and then it'll reset to that new level that you want it on. Now that I'm at like the weight range that I want, I'm into more of like toning my body. And one of my goals is to get a 6-pack. Right now I have like a 3-4 pack. It used to be a no pack, then it went to a 2-pack, and now we're at a 3-4 pack. But I have to do like that little like suck in just to see it. But one thing, as I was like starting this progress, one thing that kept frustrating me is like, I'm eating healthy, I eat more whole foods. How come like I'm not really seeing any changes in like my stomach area? One thing that I did realize was the level of alcohol. So I had to have like a heart to heart moment with myself on that. But another thing was how much times I was hearing about protein. And I'm like, I really need to stop. I really need people to stop mentioning protein. So one thing that I had decided to do was track what I was eating for 30 days. But one app that really helped me with doing that I use is this app called Lose It. What I really do like about the app is because my goal was to pay attention to my protein, I ended up like using the app to mainly track my protein, carbs, and fat, and realize like how out of balance my meals were and how little protein I was having. So then when I started using the app, I started being able to find creative ways of increasing my protein and now being much more intentional with the meals that I'm eating. So if you're someone who is looking to increase your protein or feel like you're not getting the results that you want and you feel like you're doing everything right, one thing that could really help is tracking your food and tracking mainly the carbs, the protein, and the fats that you're eating, because then it'll give you an idea of how much you're actually eating of a particular thing or maybe overeating in another. So another wellness tool that has really helped, I don't use it as often as I would like, but it definitely has helped a lot when it comes to being able to have, when I like really want like pasta, but I don't want pasta, and I want vegetables, but I don't want it in a vegetable form. This is like one of the greatest things that I've gotten that I truly enjoy. And it is getting a spiralizer. I really enjoy this for when I really want to have zucchini, and I also want to have pasta, but I don't want to use like actual pasta. So I use this to make zucchini noodles. Honestly, it really doesn't take long. You just choose the blade that you want. So they have a fettuccine and a spaghetti blade. Oh, and they also have a vermicelli one. I don't think I've ever used a vermicelli one, but they also have a vermicelli one, and they also have different types of chips blades. So I've used it for both of making chips and making noodles. I've made a butternut squash, I think it was, noodles. I didn't really care for those, but the zucchini noodles, I really enjoy a good zucchini noodle. If you've never had zucchini noodles, they are so good. I don't really get the prepackaged ones because I feel like they're overpriced, and because I have this, I could just like make the zucchini noodles myself. But that's like a really good way of still having some type of like pasta texture type of dish while also having a high amount of vegetables. I also made some potato chips with this one time. I only made it once just because of, I am someone who really enjoys potato chips. I don't enjoy them as much. I've gotten more into having like a sweet tooth. So I've been more on like a cookie venture type like journey right now. But when I was like really into having potato chips, I decided that one day I wanted to like make my own to see if I like those better. To be honest, I like the store-bought ones better, just because when it comes to like making my own potato chips, I want to remain ignorant of how much oil it takes to make it. It just took way too much oil of mine that I don't ever want to do again. I've made it about like 2 times, and then like some would come out good, others would end up being burnt, and I was just like, this is not worth the effort. But if you're someone who really wants to like make your own potato chips, definitely have yourself a blast with this. It also does hold in place. I don't think mine's holds in place anymore, but when I first had gotten it to use it, it did hold in place, and I didn't have to worry about it like moving. It doesn't really move much, but it does help when it has like the grip. If you're trying to like increase your vegetables but also really enjoy pasta, having zucchini noodles or making any type of other vegetable noodles that you want to have, using this really impacted me on having fun ways of still enjoying vegetables. So as I talk about vegetables, another thing when it came to eating healthier and a tool that has really helped with me doing that, it is also having an air fryer. I really genuinely enjoy my air fryer because I like the fact that I could still have something like fried without having the whole like fried type of cooking method. And I've also been much more aware and cognizant of like how much calories is in olive oil. To me, I just never like paid attention to calories in oil because I'm like, listen, if I'm trying to eat like healthy 90% of the time, leave me alone with certain things. Certain things I don't have the capacity to like focus on right now. But as I'm learning more about like especially like trying to get more tone in my stomach, I am realizing that certain things that I'm doing, that even though they're probably a healthy item, too much of it could then impact my ability to get to the goals that I have for myself. So I really enjoy having my air fryer just because if I want something like crispy and I want something of like that fried texture, but I don't want to necessarily fry it, I could go to my air fryer and have that as a healthier and better option than the method of using it in the pan. Another wellness tool that has really been extremely beneficial is getting a homemade seltzer water. This is really good at having if you're someone who really enjoys like spritzy drinks or soda. Like having seltzer water is just a really good alternative. I really like the Soda Stream just because you could control the amount of seltzer you want in it. So I'm just like psh, psh, psh. I would make it like really seltzery. If you're not someone who really cares to have that much seltzer, then you don't have to like pump it as much. But this is really good. And I think now that they also have like different flavors you could add to the seltzer water, because there's like a YouTuber, a food YouTuber that we follow, and he also has one, and he has like these like flavor packets or something to where he adds it to his seltzer water. So it's a really good alternative to have if you're trying to reduce the amount of soda that you're drinking or increase the amount of water that you want to drink, especially if you also really like juice. One thing that I really also do, even with my juice and the seltzer water that I have now, is I do like 80 to 90% seltzer water, and then the extra 10 to 20% of just juice. So not only do I reduce the amount of juice that I'm having, I'm also saving money because I'm not having to restock on juice as much, and I'm also increasing my water, but it doesn't feel like I'm just drinking water because I have like that soda type of taste that I'm having with it. So this is really good, of one of the tools that has really improved my wellness, because it really helps with me just being able to increase my water intake, reduce my sugar intake of juice, and it not feel like I'm just drinking water all day. I am someone who does not like going to the gym. I had like this intention of going at least like once a week, and then I ended up finding like a workout program to follow, and it stated that I didn't have to go to the gym and I could just follow the workout routine. So then that put that gym idea on pause. So one thing, if you're also someone who really hates going to the gym, one thing that would be so beneficial is having like a simple type of workout equipment in your house. And it doesn't have to take up a lot of space. It doesn't even have to take up, you don't even have to buy a lot. Literally the main things that I have are these resistance bands that I don't really use, honestly, but I do have resistance bands, a set of weights, a yoga block, and then I also have some kettlebells. And recently, one thing that I also got was this resistance training kit. I really do enjoy this because it gives me like a different way of being able to work out, like a body weight where it's different from the average workouts that I would usually do. And then it also gives you this workout guide of different things to do for like upper body, core, back, lower body. But I have that as like in a box. It doesn't take up too much space. And then I also have my kettlebells and like 15-pound dumbbells. So when it comes to like having like a workout equipment, you don't really need like a whole plethora of things. And of course, like I have like a yoga mat, but you don't really need like a plethora of things. And just having like those simple workout equipment in my house has really helped with not only getting to the weight range that I want, but has also been helpful in me toning my body. So I think it's like constantly we think we have to do like these like whole machine type of workouts when really we don't need to do all that. We just need a couple of simple weights, know what exercises to do, know when to do them, how to do them, and then eventually you will start seeing the results that you want. You don't need to necessarily go to the gym in order to see those type of results. So those are my 10 tools that has really transformed my wellness. You don't really need to do a whole bunch of things in order to get to the wellness and the health that you fully desire. Honestly, just start with one thing, and then whatever your main focus is on, then that one thing will help you see what other thing you want to focus on, and then you move to something else, and then you move to something else. All of these compounded because of something else that I was focusing on, and not necessarily because I saw someone tell me that I need to wake up at 5 a.m. and then do 10 push-ups, and then make sure that I stay in the sun for 10 minutes, and then make sure I do a mile run every 3 days. To me, I'm like, that doesn't align with my life or what I want to do. So it's like really being intentional with what works for you and what you want for your life, and what you want for your body, and what you want for your health, because then you'll see which types of tools will work better for you, and then which ones may not necessarily be something that you need to focus on. Like if you have great sleep, maybe the Oura Ring isn't something that you need to get. But if you're trying to work on your fitness but don't necessarily like going to the gym, then maybe having some type of workout equipment in your house that won't take up too much space but will have variety in it, where you could still change up your workouts and then still start seeing the progress. So those are just like 10 simple tools that have really helped me. Hopefully you found this video inspiring and of something that you can implement into your life. Definitely let me know which one is one you're planning on implementing, or if there's something that I didn't even mention that has been a wellness tool that has really transformed your life. So maybe someone else in the comments or even myself could actually benefit from it as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.